Map true stories, real decisions, real consequences. This story isn't about weddings. It's about what happens when someone quietly undermines another person, and everyone else tries to keep the peace. She's 35 years old. Her sister is 25, and she wants nothing more than for her sister to have a happy wedding. From the beginning, this wedding was never meant to be extravagant. Their parents gave the bride a choice. They could help pay for a wedding, or they could help her, or they could, or they could help her wedding, or help her get set up with a house. Her sister chose the house. It was the practical decision, the mature one. That choice meant the wedding would be smaller, simpler, paid for entirely by the couple themselves. And she was proud of her sister for that. She stepped in wherever she could to help keep costs down. Planning, coordinating, managing details. Her sister asked her to be maid of honor. Their brother was asked to be a groomsman. Everything felt balanced, until one person began to change the atmosphere. A bridesmaid named Janet. Janet was a friend from college. They weren't especially close anymore, but they shared history. From the beginning, Janet rubbed her the wrong way. Rude, self-centered, quick to judge. But this wasn't her wedding, so she stayed polite. At one get-together hosted by her sister, Janet made a comment that was impossible to miss. She turned to her boyfriend and said she was surprised by the bride's choice of bridesmaids. If she were getting married, she said, she would make sure her bridesmaids were thin, young, and pretty. The comment wasn't subtle. Janet and the other bridesmaids were younger, very thin. She was older. She didn't fit Janet's idea of pretty. She let it go. She was comfortable with herself. She didn't need validation from someone like Janet. But it wasn't just an insult. It was a signal. The next issue came with the bridal shower. She planned it with 2 cousins. Invitations were sent. Details were set. At the last minute, Janet announced she was going on vacation. Then she convinced another bridesmaid that the shower was family only and that she wasn't welcome. That bridesmaid had been invited. Janet also posted a link on Facebook, mocking bridal shower games and calling them stupid, again, subtle, again, deniable. Still, it felt intentional. The clearest moment came with the bachelorette party. Another bridesmaid, initially, told her the party would be on the 10th, at a restaurant and club just down the street from her, a place she had a personal connection to. She was excited. She offered to help make it special. A few days later, Janet messaged her privately. The party, Janet said, was actually on the 17th. Different location, mall shopping, a male strip club. She had already posted publicly that she would be out of town that weekend. And none of that appealed to her anyway. She said it was a shame she would have to miss it. Then, on the afternoon of the 10th, her sister posted on Facebook, she had been kidnapped for her surprise bachelorette party at the restaurant down the street. At the exact place she had been told. The party wasn't happening. Another bridesmaid messaged her, asking what she could do to help make the party special. The truth landed immediately. Janet had lied. She had intentionally misled her to keep her from attending. And everyone else believed she simply didn't want to be there. She could have said something. She could have confronted Janet. She could have told her sister, but the wedding was approaching. Her sister was already stressed, so she stayed quiet. 3 weeks before the wedding, the situation escalated. Her sister began forwarding messages. Messages Janet had been sending her directly, criticizing the music, too cheesy, complaining about transportation. She wanted a limo, questioning the order of events. She wanted the first dance moved. Every choice was challenged, every decision picked apart, and it worked. Her sister, who had been happy and confident a week earlier, began second-guessing everything. She had a history of anxiety. Now she was crying, breaking down, convinced her wedding wasn't good enough. That's when the question became unavoidable. Should she tell her sister the truth? Should she explain how Janet had treated her? How this wasn't new? How this wasn't really about the wedding at all? Or would that only create more stress? This is the moment where silence stops being neutral, because subtle sabotage only works when people remain polite. Janet never screamed, never exploded, never openly attacked. She used implication, isolation, selective information, and it was working. Her sister didn't need a bigger wedding. She needed protection. The hardest part of situations like this isn't identifying the problem. It's deciding when intervening causes less harm than staying quiet. Because staying quiet feels mature. It feels calm. It feels like being the bigger person. But sometimes it simply leaves the most vulnerable person alone with the damage. This story isn't about weddings, it's about recognizing when someone is quietly tearing another person down and deciding whether comfort or honesty matters more. Because sometimes keeping the peace doesn't preserve harmony. It just preserves the problem.